Good afternoon. This is Brandon Ramey with Century 21, and I'm here with Mark Richardson and Darcy Richardson with CSMC Mortgage. And
Good afternoon.
thank you for your time here today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, and what we're going to talk about here, last segment we talked about earnest money deposits. So what we're going to discuss right now is what happens after your offer gets accepted. So when your offer gets accepted to when you're getting your keys, there's certain key things that happen, right?
Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier, that the buyer is taking all the risk in terms of purchasing a home, that they're going to be obligated to make payments for 30 years, right? Every single month for 30 years. So we want to make sure we have a fiduciary duty to make sure that we protect our buyers and that they understand and know everything about the house that they can possibly try to find out, as well as do their due diligence and investigate the property and make sure that we do it in a timely manner. Right. So it is essential, would you agree that it's essential that you work with a good agent and a loan officer that communicate in a timely process on a regular basis, that everybody's on the same page working towards the same goal so that we can protect our clients through that process.
Yeah, and we want to be upfront and have those time frames dialed in, right?
Right.
And a lot of times sellers will ask you to remove, say, the appraisal contingency within 10 days, sometimes shorter.
Right.
You know, we have to be on top of the time frames, know exactly what we have to get done. The loan disclosures need to go out, the appraisal needs to get ordered, and so on and so forth. If your lender doesn't have control of that, sometimes that can get out of hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So great points with that. So a contingency, let's start with that. A contingency, the best I heard it described by an attorney is he called it a good faith excuse out of the contract. Good faith meaning not just, oh, I just want to back out of the contract. You have a certain amount of contingencies that are in play that are ways that you can get out of that contract. And as Severio had mentioned in our previous video, be able to get that full earnest money deposit back, right? Because you have 3 days after your offer is accepted to first get that money in.
Sure.
So they put that money in, could be 3%, $10,000 to $15,000. Then it goes into a neutral escrow account. And then in this role, I'm going to be the buyer's agent.
And that's key too. It doesn't go to the seller.
Right. Doesn't go directly to the seller.
That's a misunderstanding.
Right.
Yeah.
So that money's going into escrow, and then that money can be used, and we didn't mention this earlier, but it can be used as the out of pocket for your money down,
payment,
for your closing costs, right? Yeah. So it actually goes towards helping you purchase the property, right?
Yeah.
So if you go forward and you close, that's some of your money that you need to get in. You may need to get some more money, right, to come in to finish.
It's part of your down payment.
Right, it could be that. So it could be used towards those things.
Sure.
Now, if we get out of the contract, which is more of what we're concerned with and what we're speaking about today, say we come across something, we find out it's like, you know what, we really don't want this house, right? Because we discovered something that the seller either disclosed or we investigated, and maybe the seller's not willing to fix it and they say, hey, take it as is.
Or it doesn't appraise.
Right, or it doesn't appraise. Their appraisal can come in.
Yep.
So the contingency periods that are in place, you have 3 days, again, for earnest money deposit. Seller has 7 days to get you the disclosures. Their disclosures, anything that they know about the property, a material fact, is something that could impact the price. If that seller were a buyer buying their own house, what would they want to know about that home, right? That's a material fact. They have a duty to disclose that. So we want to get all that. We want to hire our home inspector. Other inspectors could be sewer lateral inspections, chimney inspections, roof inspections. So we want to do that first basic home inspection up front, which is very general. They're kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, right? But they give us red flags of what could be an issue. And then we know what to further investigate if we need to bring in that plumber, that electrician, that roof specialist, that chimney specialist, right? So after we further investigate and get all the facts we can get on that property, now we want to know, okay, can we ask the seller if they're willing to fix these items, right? Okay, so 7 days for the seller to disclose, typically 17 days for that loan, or I'm sorry, the appraisal contingency, as well as your other contingencies. So all your other contingencies other than the loan is at 21 days. So unless it's been modified, as Marcus mentioned, in a multiple situation, sometimes it's shortened, and we just want to make sure with the loan officer that we can get that approval. So before we remove all of our ways out of the contract, right? All of our contingencies. It's the last thing that we do. What would that agent, do when they make a call to you? What are they asking to make sure they feel comfortable that they can move forward on the transaction?
The key with the whole thing is, are you willing to remove this contingency and putting that person's money at risk? Because that's what it is. If I say, yes, we can remove the loan contingency and something doesn't happen that good faith deposit can be gone. right?
Right.
There's that
You
chance.
put it at risk,
I put
right.
it at risk. I'm never, ever going to do that.
Right.
It's a conversation with you. It's a conversation with the buyer.
Right.
Here's where we are. Your loan's fully approved. We need nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all ready to go. Are you okay with me removing that loan contingency?
Right.
Right? Because it's their money. I don't want to put it at risk. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
If I have something missing in the file,
Mm-hmm.
we still haven't gotten this back, I'm going to let you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to let the buyer know I don't want to release this contingency because I don't want to put your money at risk, just in case that comes back and it's not the right answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Great points. And
Yeah.
just also to, in terms of how the contract is set up, it's an active contract,
Mhm.
meaning nothing happens automatically.
Right.
Just because
Doesn't
it's
just drop off.
right,
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
days, obviously the buyer has to bring in that earnest money deposit. But just because 21 days are up,
Yeah.
doesn't mean that all your ways out of the contract are up.
Right.
We, on the buying side, have to physically remove those contingencies,
Right.
remove those ways out of the contract. And the only way we're going to feel good about doing that
Mhm.
is if we know, speaking to our loan officer,
Mhm.
that it's a good time to do that.
Right.
So just any other points that you want to highlight in terms of,
No,
you know,
just that I think of that as my money. Would I put my money at risk? Would
Right.
would I say, okay, yeah, we can do it, and I'm really not sure.
right.
Yeah, it's my client's money. I have their best interest in mind.
Well, and that's where the
Yeah.
experience matters as
Absolutely.
well as great communication
Yeah.
matters through this process. So
Yeah.
thank you again for all of your time
Thanks for
today.
listening.
And we got some other great videos coming up to help empower you as a buyer or a seller if you're thinking about buying or selling in 2020. Thank you again for your time.
Thanks for listening.